What's going on?
Oh, awesome. Alrighty, hello to everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of JakesTake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, before we get started, if you're listening to our audio version, please give us a 5-star review and subscribe. And if you're on YouTube and watching us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Today, I have a very exciting guest. He is a Spotify verified artist, and he has, as of this recording, 7,600 Instagram followers. Please help me welcome Don Dadda to the podcast.
Yeah. Bad man. Buh! There.
How do you like that introduction?
Say again?
How do you like that introduction?
Oh, it was great. It was great. I like the energy. The spirit was there. We're going to run with it.
Awesome, Don. Thank you very much for taking time in your schedule to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. Anything for you, Jake.
All right, so let's get started. So, Don, when you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into the desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
So I got interested in music when a friend of mine gave me the FL Studio demo version. And I mean, I did like a play and things like that in junior high school, I would say. And I did one project, and I ended up being like the star actor, and then ended up even doing a little writing and a little verse at the end of it, right? But I didn't really think of that as anything. In fact, I thought of that more as acting than anything else. But that would probably be the first time I ever touched music in general. But a few years later, it will come back full circle when I got that program, and um, ended up just falling in love with it. I would spend hours sitting there on my mom's old PC, and time would just go by. And I never had the real version, so I had the demo, so I couldn't even close the program or shut the computer down. So it was even worse. So like I would spend as much time trying to do as much as I can, and I think that was like the first time I really knew that I loved music for real.
That's awesome because it reminds when you were describing me about that demo and like how it doesn't shut down. It's like basically what it reminded me about playing Pokemon Gold and Silver and then Yellow as well on Game Boy, and also Super Smash Brothers and the Marvel Ultimate Alliance on GameCube and the Wii. You can't
Oh,
once you
100%.
start, you can't stop.
100%. 100%. And I definitely played those games myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a Nintendo guy, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, original Nintendo. I had all of them, you know what I'm saying? So I can 100% relate.
Yeah, I love the Nintendo products. They were amazing and definitely an important part of my childhood.
For sure. And it's funny because even with that program, I remember my brother telling me every day he'd walk by and he'd be like, "Yeah, this is trash." And then he would come back the next day and he'll listen and he'll be like, "Yeah, what's this? Yeah, this is terrible." And then one day he walked by and he's like, "What's this?" I was like, "It's something I made." He's like, "Huh, this sounds all right." And then he just kept walking again. I was just like, "Oh," you know what I'm saying? Like that just got me so excited because I was so used to hearing this is trash or this is terrible that the one time I got "Oh, this is all right. This is actually okay." You know what I'm saying? Is it just showed me that there's potential in what I was actually doing. So
I definitely agree that it's always great to hear like to get the approval of the sibling
of
as
course,
well.
for sure.
So awesome. So let's get started. Let's get back to our conversation. So who are your role models and how did they influence your sound?
So my role models are I don't have a bunch of like celebrity people or anything like I want to be like because I was always a very realistic person. So I'm very down to earth, and a lot of the people that I look up to are people that I know and people that I actually saw do things. And um, so my family is one thing for sure. I have a very good family support. I'd say I was basically raised by a gang of women. You know what I'm saying? Aunts and my mom, and I have two older brothers as well, that obviously greatly influenced me as well. So I would say, especially my mom, knowing where she came from to where she went to, and then bringing all her sisters and then having them do the same. going from a little village in Jamaica to having your master's degree. You know what I'm saying? And now they pretty much all have master's degrees over and over, like multiple. So seeing that and even migrating to the US and getting recruited as a teacher from Jamaica, those stuff are what kind of matters to me, because it showed me that if you work hard towards something, you can get there. So a lot of times we see a lot of the celebrities do things and see dope things, but we don't really know what it took to get from point A to point B. You know what I'm saying? And typically I find that, especially nowadays, people are idolizing you getting there, but they're not paying attention to the journey and what it took for you to get there. And I think that's the important part, because that's where the real gems are. That's where you learn the most. So to reiterate, I would definitely say my family is probably my biggest group of supporters and um, people that drive me, but and my role models. But in addition to that, if I am going to give you some more popular people, um, there's a lot of people that I think influenced me along the way as well, just by watching their career and looking into it. So Pharrell would definitely be one of them, just because he's quite eclectic. He's very different. He's cool. So it's like, he reminds me a lot of myself, right? In the sense of, throughout his whole career, everything he kind of touches is gold. And he touches so many different things, from fashion to music. He literally did a whole score for the movies, the Despicable Me movies. That's like crazy. He conducted an orchestra. How many producers do you know conduct an orchestra, right? So these things, he keeps evolving. He keeps getting better. Now he has the whole Human Race brand. And not to mention how many different kinds of people he works with. So from the most gangster of rappers to the most square of artists. He's just able to work with an eclectic group of people and constantly keep and stay true to himself, but at the same time keep reinventing himself, or keep being exciting for the most part, right? So, and lastly, on a more recent level, um well, not really lastly, I'm gonna mention two more. Travis Scott, definitely love everything he's doing. I love how everything he's doing with his brand is just really integrated. So it's all seamless. And again, all of these folks are all producers, artists, fashion, probably icons at this point, and they're involved in multiple things. So there's really super creatives. Um, and then of course I'm from Jamaica myself, so I wouldn't, and it influences so much of my music. I would say, like, I'm gonna give it to like all of '90s dancehall and early 2000s dancehall. So everything from Sean Paul to Buju Banton to uh, Mr. Vegas, all these guys I listened to growing up, definitely let me know what was possible. And mixing the sounds, using that Jamaican influence and mixing in that pop sound is something I do a lot of as well. So yeah, no, that was a long-winded answer, but I feel like it was a deep question, low key. So
But that was a really good answer. It's amazing to hear about how your mom and your aunts and sisters surrounded you guys and actually inspired you to go improve, and not to mention your older brothers as well. But that's sometimes it's better to have strong personal connections and stronger personal role models than some of the music industry, because over the past couple of years we've seen a lot of skeletons fall out of their
a
closets.
lot of skeletons, whole bodies falling out.
Yeah, and I really like that you mentioned Pharrell. Pharrell's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a great. Hey, who doesn't love Pharrell? Like, I don't think I've ever heard one person say a negative comment about Pharrell.
And look at the set, and some of the biggest songs of the 2000s came from him. Look at
Exactly.
Happy, and then look at, and of course, Get Lucky with Daft Punk, and Daft Punk, one of the greatest party songs of all time.
Yeah.
Get Lucky, and but the Grammy one with him, Daft Punk, Nile Rodgers. I cannot forget about Nile
Yeah.
Rodgers, and then Stevie Wonder. What a, and then how they led that whole huge dance party of Get Lucky when they performed at Grammys. One of my all-time favorite moments of the modern day Grammys.
That's a fact. That's a classic performance. You know what I'm saying? And I always thought, I don't know if you ever noticed, but that song maybe has like no more than 8 to 16 lines. How do
Oh
you
yeah,
make 8 to 16 lines sound good for 3 minutes? Yeah,
or
I dare
or even
anybody to try it. he's singing the same thing over and over again and you don't really realize it. So I just stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, in like paying attention and listening, to me that's amazing. So
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you faced breaking into the music industry and how did you overcome them?
so some of the challenges, I feel like it's the music industry. There's always going to be challenges, right? Um, I think one of the first ones was actually learning to make the music, right? And learning what's important in the music industry. So the first challenge I faced was just not having someone to really tell me what's important. So there's a lot of facades in the music industry, and when you're trying to be an artist or anything in that sense, producer, whatever, you're gonna kind of just repeat what you see other people doing that seems like it's working. But the real key is that a lot of that stuff is very superficial. It doesn't actually mean anything, right? So, for example, you're gonna try to build your Instagram, of course, right? But does your Instagram followers equal dollars and cents? Absolutely not, right? um it's not really your Instagram followers that's important, even though people pay a lot of attention to that. It's your influence. So if you have 3,000 followers and you can garner 1,000 likes, you have a greater influence than someone that has 100,000 followers and 1,000 likes. So learning that, um and even on a grand scale, it just shows you that it's not just about perception. So a lot, basically getting through a lot of those smoke and mirrors, where that's one of the challenges I had to face, basically learning what's actually important versus what just looks good, right? So I would like come up with logos and t-shirts and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, that stuff is important, but what ended up happening is I looked like an artist without actually being an artist. So I think, to conclude and bring it all together, one of the first things I learned was, don't just look like an artist, actually be an artist. Don't just have a nice website. There's no point in having a nice website and having a nice outfit and all this stuff if your song doesn't sound good. It's not mixed and mastered. That means to me your priorities are kind of backwards, right?
100%. Because the thing is, I rather listen to music that's really good and that has really good influence. It definitely has social media, but however, at the same time, it's like it goes with the grass is always greener on the other side. Envy appeal that people don't
Right,
understand.
right, right. So I think that's one of the definitely one of the challenges. Another challenge I had to deal with, which we hear about all the time, is um, learning how to deal with people and different eclectic types of folks. You never know who you're gonna encounter when you walk into a room. So you kind of have to learn how to maneuver in that sense. So I would say also, if a big celebrity comes in a room, it's okay to be a fan, right? But you don't want to do a backflip in the middle of the room and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to kind of know how to maneuver, because that person will literally just put you in a box. Or I've seen literally people get kicked out of studio sessions because they're trying to push their beat while the artist is recording another song. It's like, yo, I got beats, but he's like, it's not the time for that. So learning how to maneuver is definitely another lesson. And lastly, where you don't have resources, be resourceful. I think that one's
Those
pretty
are all
simple.
great lessons.
Yeah.
And I definitely had a place in time for that where like where I'm meeting artists and like lose and trying to be professional.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely had some incredible moments like that time I met Brittany.
Exactly. And I mean, like, of course, you've been listening to this person for years. You think you know who they are. You've read their bios. It's like you've been wanting to meet this person. So of course you're gonna get excited. They inspired you. But at the same time, you don't want this to be the only time you'll ever be able to talk to this person. You know what I'm saying? So, and you'll get the chance typically to be like, hey, and there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I'm such a fan of your work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you greatly inspired me, blah blah blah. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's how that message comes across, right? So I think that's very important. So that's why I kind of sum it up to knowing how to maneuver.
Absolutely, absolutely. And maneuvering is so important, but also and also reading the room is even, but it's a little more
Exactly.
imperative that you guys do
Ultimately,
that.
ultimately, exactly what I mean. Like, to me, they're hand in hand. Yeah.
Alrighty, so I got to talk to you about some of your songs and the stories behind them.
Yep. I would love to get into it.
All right, let's start with Under the Moonlight with Ahsoka.
Ashoka.
Ashoka. I'm so sorry.
Ashoka.
I'm a Star Wars fan, so I know. And there's a character named Ahsoka Tana. So when I saw Ahsoka,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's actually from an anime, actually. So, um, I actually asked him. I was like, "Is that your real name?" You know, like, we actually had a whole conversation about it. But yeah, how did that one come about? Oh, okay, got you. So I actually met Ashoka's manager, um, and we ended up connecting, and he let me know he had an artist. Shout outs to Kayvon. He actually works for Genius. So he introduced me to his artist, and brought him over to my studio, and we kind of just listened to tracks, whatever. And then he reached out to me again another day, and I ended up going to his house. We both kind of have he had a studio set up at his house, so I ended up going over to his house because he kind of let me know that he wanted to work on some new music. So went there, worked on some stuff, and then I played him because I don't remember if I told him that I was making music myself as well. So at that point is when I played him some records. And when I played him Under the Moonlight, it was just an idea, but he went crazy for it. He was just like, "Bro, this one is crazy. Like, this one is really dope." You know? So I think he told me right away, like, I would probably want to get on this, you know? And but people say stuff. So I listened to it, but kind of just went back into more music, whatever. And then I ended up going back to his house to finish those records. And then he mentioned it again. He was like, "Bro, that song you had, I think it was called Under the Moonlight. Yeah, we should I really actually want to jump on that, bro. Like, I think it's a dope record." And the rest was history. We recorded it right then and there that day.
that's pretty cool. And it's amazing how someone remembers the actual title and the actual song beats after, like, let's say months
Right.
after, and say, "Let's do it."
Exactly, exactly. Because I know I got the memory of a goldfish. I don't know how he did it, but I could probably sing you the whole melody, but don't ask me the song name.
Okay, I will do that. Okay, so let's talk about your, as of this recording, your most streamed song on Spotify with 30,000 streams is Parlay.
Yeah, Parlay. So Parlay was is probably the first song that I feel like started leading me towards what my true sound more so was. So it was the first one where I felt like that's the first one where I really blended the Jamaican vibes with the New York vibes and came up with this sound uh, that Don Knock sounds like today. So um, Parlay came about in a period of my life where I was living my best life, you know. So at that point in time, it was just like I wasn't interested in anything serious, you know. I was just trying to have fun. So essentially, that's where the lyrics and the song came about. It's more like, let's parlay, you know, like, let's go hang out, let's see each other. That's fine, but I don't want to be committed to anything at the time, you know. So that's literally where that came about, you know, which is why it's like the whole song, the whole premise is speaking about the fact that we can have the best day or the best night ever, but I don't bet on me being there in the morning. And that's basically what the whole song is about.
That's a pretty, and it's a nice jam too.
Thank you, man. I'm glad you like it.
Okay, WYA.
So where you at is actually abbreviation for where you at. Maybe I should have put some dots in there, right? Like, Um, but Where You At is actually one of my favorite records that I just keep going back to, personally, right? And I spent a lot of time traveling in my 20s. So um, I wanted to make a song about it. And on my travels, I meet females. And when you meet someone, especially in another country, that's one of the first, like, where you from? Tell me all about you. You know what I'm saying? What do you like to do? So that's why the song is like, just tell me where you're from. I want to know where you've been. I'll go anywhere you are just to see you again. Because it's like, it summarizes that whole notion. It's like, just tell me where you, right? Okay. Now I know where you're from. I want to know where you've been. Tell me about your history. Tell me more about you. Who are you as a person? I'll go anywhere you are. So now that I know so much about you, I like you. So now wherever you're going, I'm trying to come there too because I want to see you again, just to see you again. And that's the pretty much the premise of that whole record. Actually, it's all in the all in. It's literally all in the words.
And that brings me to Copenhagen, 24-hour rendezvous.
Yeah. So yeah, this one is a little bit more spicy, but this one's more about something specific. I actually met a woman in London a few years back, and when I got back, literally within the first 48 hours, I wrote this song. She was actually from Denmark, from Copenhagen. So um, when I got back, I was inspired by my trip. It was my first time to Europe. We did 5 countries in 10 days, me and my brother. So yeah, it was pretty intense trip, and met this girl in London. Told me she was from Copenhagen. I don't even think I know where Copenhagen was at the time. So it was just like when I got back, I was just like, please fly me out to Copenhagen because I got something special waiting. We can call it a vacation. I'll be there. Just tell me you're waiting, So that whole thing is just like, somebody needs to get me back to this girl, like, and I will just say the word and I will get on this flight right now. Right. So that's basically um, what the song was about. But about my, which is why it's called also 20 hours, because when we met, I only had 20 hours left in London with her. So we spent 20 hours together uh, after that. And actually, we ended up dating for a while. So those 20 hours turned into a few years, actually.
That's pretty amazing that all of that can come from one song.
I know, right? Yeah. So the crazy thing is, typically, my songs are a reflection of where I'm at. 9 out of 10 times, they're about women and my experiences with women. But they all tell a story, and that's kind of why I also love music. And I feel like that's missing from music now. Um, Something telling, or you go through something, and something where you can visualize, not just like this is what it is and this is what it is, something where you can take my lyrics and create your own story from it, or like you can listen to what I'm saying in the song and relate to it because you have a similar experience. So like, where you at, anyone that travels can relate to that. Copenhagen, if you go to Copenhagen, you're going to think of this record now, you know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something that I try to put into my music. I guess I got that from that early 2000s era, that I feel, in the 90s era, that I feel like's missing today. It's just putting that story and that relatability into the music.
That's incredible. That's really incredible. So, at the end of April, there's one final song. It's Regular,
Yeah.
and Regular's music video. Your collaboration with Team Manny, and I
Yeah.
apologize if I butcher his name.
Nah, it's T Mane. It's okay though.
Team Manny.
Yeah.
At the end of April, Regular's music video aired on BET Jams, BET Soul, MTV Jams, and VH1 Soul.
Yep.
So, what did it mean to have that music video be broadcast by three of the biggest music television brands?
I mean, who doesn't know what Viacom is, And again, like the era that I grew up in, it was like you woke up in the morning to get dressed for school, and it was AM wake up, with on MTV, and they're just playing videos before before everything became a reality show. That's what it was. Music television actually had music on it. So, um, that was pretty important because I grew up listening to these, watching these stations, I should say, and every morning getting dressed for school, and that was the play track or the backdrop to my mornings and my evenings. You know what I'm saying? And staying up late and watching BET Uncut when I know I shouldn't be watching that. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty important to me. It's really nostalgic. So it's definitely important. Um, Definitely a milestone for me, uh, as of right now. So yeah,
There are so many incredible moments I remember from MTV, especially Carson Daly's TRL,
come
especially
on,
with seeing the Backstreet Boys, seeing literally 10,000 people invade Times Square just to see the Backstreet Boys perform on the roof
right?
from their Millennium album.
Exactly. And I remember like just being at that time I still lived in Jamaica, so it was even crazier. So like when I moved to New York, um it's even a little bit different, and going to Times Square and seeing where that used to be and things like that. So but coming from Jamaica and seeing that on TV in Jamaica, and then coming to the place and actually being able to be on these same channels now, uh is just monumental, and I can only just be thankful for it. Many don't get there. So
And also, I gotta say, there's way too much ridiculous on, and not enough of great quality music videos like yours on.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. You can't grow up in the time period that I maybe I think we did. I think we might be, but like, and not appreciate a good quality music video. Like I always use the example of like a Bad Boys for Life music video with Diddy, and when the actors used to come in and make a little cameo, and then you just take a break in the music video and do a little skit. Like just these things where, again, back to story, right? I feel like it's just so missing in music now, like in its entirety. So that idea of story is something I definitely wanted to bring in, because anyone can stand in front of a dope backdrop and sing their song. And I think that's what a lot of music videos have become. We create these dope backdrops, these dope scenes, whether it's just putting a bunch of plants in the background and then they just artists perform their song, or we got five girls twerking behind us, which is great too. Everybody loves women twerking, but there's a time for that and there's a place for that. If I'm talking about uplifting black women, I don't think that I want to see twerking in the back, like in the back of the video. There's a time and a place for it. If I'm talking about, uh, like, I think your subject matter should also match what's going on, and everything should come through full circle. And more important for me, the best thing about this music video is the fact that we shot it in Jamaica, which is where I grew up. We put the resources back into the country. I'm taking this sound from the country I came from. And a lot of people, they migrate, they come to America, or they go to another first world country through music, and they don't give back or pay homage to the countries they came from. So that's something I want to make sure that I do, which is why we went back to Jamaica as well for this. All the girls in that video are 100% Jamaican. They all live there. They all were paid nicely. What I'm saying, like, everyone from the video pretty much was from Jamaica, with the exception of the actual videographer, because we've just built a rapport of, that's the same guy I use for all my music videos. Shout outs to Shimo. um and yeah, so I wanted to make sure I give back to that community and to my country that gave me everything. um the screening party, the release fit for the video, we actually did an initiative and ended up raising funds, put a proceed of the bar towards giving back to creatives in Jamaica. So that's an initiative that I'm starting. And when I put out the Rooms project, which is coming soon, that's definitely going to be something we continue throughout. So we're going to put back a portion of proceeds towards creatives in Jamaica.
I think that's a wonderful cause. I definitely think that's good on you for starting that and having that initiative to do that. And I think a lot of Jamaican boys and girls who are looking to become musicians and creatives are definitely going to be very helped out with this initiative.
100%. I mean, like, I have this theory that, for a country that's so poor and doesn't really have much, in my opinion, Jamaica is the most influential place in the world for its size.
Absolutely. It's a
So
legendary sound and culture has been spread around the world and there's not enough riches. You guys given enough riches and we've taken enough riches. It's about time that you guys get them back.
100%.
Alrighty, so let's get started as we start winding down our conversation. So, do you have any favorite social media channels that you personally like?
So social media channels, as in people that I follow.
Oh no! What's your favorite social media platform?
Oh,
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
okay. That's a no-brainer. It's definitely gonna be Instagram. Definitely gonna be Instagram. I'm not really on Facebook, but I do the whole coupling thing where everything I post on Instagram goes to Facebook. I'm on TikTok as well, but I'm getting the ropes. TikTok is a little bit more tricky, and I think it prefers uploading content directly to the platform. So TikTok, in my opinion, is just a little bit more time consuming. So that's the only thing for me in TikTok, but I would definitely 100% say Instagram is my favorite. And they have managed to steal every platform's abilities and put it into one. So, I mean, I don't know what the laws are with that, but they've been able to do it successfully and just keep doing it. So, yeah, it's like they've integrated everybody into one. So instead of using all these five different things, that's my main platform for sure.
Awesome, awesome. So, if you have any advice to artists who want to take their careers to the next level in music, what advice would you share with them, Don?
I would say I'm trying to figure out. I know what I want to say. I'm trying to figure out how to put it into words. Um, One, first thing you got to do, and this is gonna sound really redundant. You're an artist, make music, right? Like folk. That's the main thing you need to do. I think that I find that in today's day and age, I meet artists. I'm like, oh, what's up? Nice to meet you, dude. Okay, we exchange Instagrams. I go on their page, see 100 pictures of them, but there's no music. Where do I get the music? Can't find them on streaming, like. So the first thing you have to do is, in my opinion, focus on the music. um Typically everything else will come, but focus on the music, learn everything you can learn, and lastly, and probably more importantly, there's no rules at all. And part of the reason why I love it, but there's literally no rules. There's not one set way to make it. There's not where one door closes, another one opens. There's no rules at all. So you got to keep making the music, and there's no rules.
Awesome pieces of advice. So, Don, are you ready for your last question?
Yeah, this one's gonna take me the longest to probably actually answer, but yeah, I think let's see what you got for me.
Alrighty. Where can my audience find your music and also connect with you on social media?
Oh, that's the easiest one. Okay, great. I thought you had something else over there. Okay, great. Um, you guys can find me at Don Knock. That's Don Knock, like you're knocking on a door. Real easy. And on Twitter and TikTok, I am at Badman Don Knock. That's Badmon Don Knock. Right? Boom.
Awesome. So, guys, if you miss an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. It's Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And Don, the blog that started it all, shakes.shake.com, is turning 11 years old in August.
Awesome. 11 years of amazingness, I hope. So I'm very happy to have been here through its 11th year.
Awesome. And guys, if you want to check, you can find out interviews, more articles, and music reviews on jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. And guys, please, if you're financially able to, please consider heading to my PayPal channel to help keep jakestake.com and my platform up and running. I'm a one-man band. I do everything. So including talking to Don, preparing for the questions, and also arranging for him to come to on this podcast and also editing the podcast. So if you're financially able to, awesome. Thank you so much. If not, I totally understand. But a strong social media alternative is follow me on social media and also subscribe to the podcast. Don, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake. Make sure you guys check him out. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure he sees many more years of this. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you guys also follow me at Don Knock on Spotify and all the streaming platforms as well.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Bye.